At 10,000 subscribers, I will play PS1 roguelike, Pokemon-esque classic Azure Dreams. At 500 likes, I will also stream on this channel Sonic Adventures DX. Now enjoy the video. A title so legendary for its high quality production and legendary fight choreography that it's up there with Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance and Devil May Cry. Or my personal favorite from the PS2 era, God Hand. But Asura's Wrath is nowhere near as loved because Asura's Wrath is infamously hated for its DLC, the true ending, Nirvana. Which, to be honest, is a fucking horrendous thing to do, unless it's for the right reasons. The DLC, Part 4 Nirvana, was originally supposed to be part of the original game, according to CyberConnect 2 CEO Hiroshi Matsuyama, but Capcom asked them to take it out, after noticing it wasn't quite as epic as they thought. So Capcom took it off for CyberConnect 2 to enhance, to make it even better than the initial draft that was Part 4 Nirvana. But before this, Part 4 Nirvana was originally supposed to be a full-blown sequel to the original game, hence why the overall QTE style is so much more varied compared to the main game itself. But the poor sales of the original game scrapped those plans, and it was made into a downloadable true ending to complete Asura's story. I can't find the concrete proof I need to justify this and the other statements, and it honestly makes this project fucking frustrating to work on. Especially with Angry Joe and WatchMojo.com making such a huge deal about the DLC.
The true ending to Asura's Wrath? Experience the true ending? Do you not realize your fucking reputation? Do you not realize what's happening right now over at BioWare? You are so completely oblivious. You cannot be that stupid. You can't. This is literally a slap in the fucking face of your fans, especially considering what's going on right now.
Most discourse from reputable sources have disappeared, leaving me with YouTube comments and TV tropes. But the game itself helps justify its case. There are a lot of signs that Asura's Wrath's DLC was made with love and passion for the game, and not just money like other Capcom games.
Oh wow, you're better than you look.
With that DLC being still on the disc. Sorry I tried, but I can't seem to come up with the receipts. But I've also dealt with this from other games coming close to being finished. Advent Rising, Shenmue, Too Human, Beyond Good and Evil, Prince of Persia being the only other title to finish its game with DLC like Asura's Wrath, especially at a time when, understandably, it was very controversial. It still shocks me that so many supposed journalists and publications took the easy route to shit on this game, spreading hatred and vitriol for a game that doesn't deserve it. But don't worry, that still doesn't happen. CyberConnect 2 was formed on February 16, 1996 as CyberConnect, based in Fukuoka, Japan. But on September 16, 2001, it was renamed to CyberConnect 2, making games like Dot Hack, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja franchise, before making their own original game, Asura's Wrath, only selling 3,600 copies. Which Capcom fully expected, honestly, while this would kill most companies, not CyberConnect 2. Going on to create Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, and before being removed from production, Final Fantasy VII Remake. From my research, over half of Final Fantasy VII Remake's content was discovered to have been developed by CyberConnect 2. Probably even our favorite Italian Senate character. Asura's Wrath has been described as an interactive anime, according to the game's producer Katsuhiro Tatsuhichi. And for good reason, with each chapter having its own intro credits and outro credits, with brief promos and cut together footage for the next episode, even splitting the chapters into major arcs, purposely trying to make you feel like you're playing an amazing anime show that you never want to put down. With Asura's Wrath taking elements from Hindu and Buddhist mythology and blending them into a science fiction epic, Their main concept was to reach out all over the world with Asura's wrath being the focus. Something that anybody can relate to, while usually seen as negative. It can be a driving force that helps you overcome any obstacle. And taking their love of franchises like Dragon Ball and Naruto, no shit, with the thought of story first, gameplay later, for better and for worse, honestly. Some even called this the spiritual successor or would-be sequel to God Hand. The inspiration behind making this game was, I wanted to make something that gamers have never seen before, Tatsuhichi added. I'm sure this is the same motivation behind the team that made God Hand as well. But like Jim Sterling said in his 5 out of 10 review, many people will tell you that Asura's Wrath is unlike anything you've seen before, which is interesting because its components can all be compared to things that we've seen for years. Elements of Dragon's Lair, Heavy Rain, God of War, and even Space Invaders make up this Frankenstein's monster with a sampling of every major anime to give the story that familiar flavor. Nevertheless, there's something certainly unique about the game that cannot decide whether it's an interactive movie, a beat-em-up, a shooter, or a pure anime. Yet while its resemblance to an untasted cocktail is tantalizing, its refusal to commit to any one concept proves to be its undoing. The goal is to fill the burst meter without losing one's health, so that Asura can unleash his rage and kick off the QTE section. What will follow is a long-winded set of animations in which the player's actions have very little influence. Ultimately what happens is that you're consistently being lifted up and suddenly dropped. Asura's Wrath forever builds to crescendos that never happen. It is as close as gaming gets to the shuddering moment one suspends before its knees, without the blessed, explosive relief at the end. But let's just say Jim's perspective on games is a bit scuffed. And he also thinks working out once a week will make you look like this. So take his thoughts with a grain of salt. I mean, he got blacklisted out of the gaming industry for controversial takes and fighting against the system. Not because his incendiary takes and his extreme toxicity, pissing off many developers. While technically some of the things he did say are correct about Asura's Wrath, you can take those into the positive realm of incorporating all these things into a tight, well-produced package, actually emphasizing the combat with its over-the-top anime flair, actually pushing the story forward with gameplay, something Jim Sterling picks and chooses the importance of with his videos nowadays. Let's put away my personal anger so we can talk about a literal personification of anger in this well-animated, badass epic, Asura's Wrath, and give it all the love it deserves.
I will not let you take any more lives!
The Goma and the Shingoku armies meet in space for one of the biggest engagements ever. The Goma, the evil essence of Gaia itself, swarms the 8 Guardian Generals, all commanding the power of mantra, magic that the gods and the Goma use in combat, gathered by the people of Gaia in many ways. Asura barreling through their front line without any regard for his life, fighting through their armies and even battling their god Viltra, living inside the planet itself. Asura's daughter, Mithra, the priestess, is the only being capable of amplifying mantra, being one of the only reasons that the Shingoku army was even capable of stopping the Viltra. Asura is framed for the death of the supreme leader, Emperor Strata, and is on the run. The now 7 deities kill Durga, Asura's wife, kidnap his daughter to harness her power, and throw the black-hearted, selfish demigod Asura from heaven, all to save the world under the rule of Deus. Now in Naraka, meeting the Golden Spider.
Awake at last, are we?
Who are you?
Good question. Not the right one. The right question would be, who are you? That's it. Up you go. Yes, there is a reason why you must continue to climb, isn't there? You may have forgotten why, but the flame inside you still burns.
Spending a lot longer in Naraka than we thought, returning to Gaia 12,000 years later, losing his memories. The 7 deities, with the Shingoku and Goma, are turning Gaia into a living hell. Regaining some of his memories after a volatile run-in with the Goma, Shingoku forces, and the great deity Wizen.
No soul shall fall into the hands of the Goma. What Lord Deus spoke of was true. It has been a while, traitor.
A boss fight that is absolutely iconic to Asura's Wrath. Being so iconic, it's been used in the demo trailers and in every video talking about this game. Now a god after using the power of Asura's daughter to increase his and the 7 deities' powers, becoming powerful enough to do this.
A monkey like you can defeat a god? Of the 7 deities, I am an absolute being that protects this world and its mortals.
The absolute satisfaction of every button press in these QTEs is unmatched by any game I've ever played. The impact, the scale, the sheer coolness is the equivalent of reliving the final battle of Gurren Lagann in every single episode. When I heard that they wanted to make this a spiritual successor to God Hand, they succeeded without it being a joke. Most of the time. If it's your first time seeing this and you're interested in an over-the-top anime, this is peak gaming for you. And you're doing yourself a favor by putting this on your watch later list and playing it yourself and enjoying the spectacle.
You bastards!
Asura's eternal rival Yasha makes an appearance, while in his weakened state, not even having arms to defend himself with. Asura must defend himself from his onslaught.
I will say it again. Your daughter is devoted to the cause in order to save the world.
Who do you think you are?
God. What?
In the end, Asura does take his mask off, but is sent back to Naraka, being killed by his one-time friend Yasha. Yasha is doing this for the greater good. Without Mithra, the world can't be saved unless they have her, no matter what line needs to be crossed, believing she is the sword and shield of this world. "500 years later, in Hell, or Naraka, while climbing out, once again he remembers an encounter early on with the Goma, being unable to control his rage, attacking August and Yasha, making quite the impression.
Control yourself!
Immersing oneself in battle like that. Well done, Asura!
Now that you have something to protect, why are you so full of rage? Or perhaps that is exactly why.
With the thought of his daughter suffering fueling him, he escapes once more. Being worshipped for killing a god with his corpse immortalized. The one praying to him looks a lot like his daughter, being forced to defend her and her village.
So this is the reason for the unusual mantra concentration in these parts. How disappointing.
Kalro can save their souls. The Goma and the Shingoku are fighting a never-ending war for the souls of the loyal humans willing to sacrifice everything to the seven deities to leave this mortal coil, forcing Asura into becoming the unwilling protector for humanity.
What the hell are you doing? I will not stand for this.
Now, this is where the biggest problems of Asura's wrath rears its ugly head. Combat with regular enemies is like a filler arc in any anime. While not awful, usually, it's never why you're here. You're really just fighting an arena until your burst bar goes up, waiting for the next bombastic sequence. How basic it is really shows on the hard difficulty. Never really being challenged, just annoyed if you failed. But the team still shows how crazy their animation studio is with the impact of cinematic attacks. Asura absolutely destroys the fleet, killing Kalro.
After the Great Rebirth, no more will need to be sacrificed. Yes, the world will be free from the threat of the Goma, and we shall attain eternal paradise.
I grow tired of hearing about the world!
Your old master, August, takes your damaged, broken body to the hot springs to heal and reminisce. Now, time for another iconic battle, with August going all out, being one of the most powerful of the seven, making sure you know it.
Must come to an end. You knew this was coming. This is where real men belong. In the fight, I don't give a damn. And I don't fight for evil. I just fight. I will say it once more. I am you, and you are me. I am nothing like you.
Defeating August being Asura's final lesson. A Goma army quickly approaches. With no other option, Asura stops the Horde, waging a one-man war as the Horde collapses on him, dying again in the process, but not for long. But it's all in vain. The girl still dies because of the Shingoku fleet, led by Olga, releasing Asura's eight-tailed form, or his berserker form, tearing through their fleet with raw, unadulterated violence, destroying anything sent his way. Be forewarned that for some reason the sound mixing is fucking atrocious here. Sonic Adventure's too bad.
What the? Is everyone alright? We should be landing soon.
The hatch doors are
Don't
open.
sweat it, Knuckles. The only thing in the cargo bay are those
What do you
Master
mean, don't
Emeralds.
sweat it?
Right?
Land the
Knock
shuttle
it
and
off,
let me
Knuckles.
out.
We're gonna crash this thing if you keep that up. Oh no! Don't touch that lever!
But it's only for this arc, surprisingly. Olga, out of desperation, uses the Brahmastra to finally destroy Asura, having used the souls of millions of humans for that cause, forcing the hand of Yasha, who we now play as, fighting our way across the fleet to stop the Brahmastra, saving Asura. While there is technically no difference in fighting style, Yasha is more about speed, finesse, and technique than the Asura tank everything and keep swinging style.
Damn you, Yasha!
This is not the cause I supported.
After all this, they lost 2/3 of all the mantra they gathered for the last 12,000 years, and now Yasha is beginning to question everything he and his 7 deities did, their motives, and even why he's here and what he fights for. With Sergei pushing Yasha's beliefs even further before...
What? You! So you chose the cause over your own sister. Bravo! You deserve a treat, loyal dog of Deus. See the beauty in the death of your family.
Asura and Yasha, like any anime rivals, try to reach each other with their motives and feelings through their fists.
You will not listen to reason, then listen to my fists!
I have business in Shinto. Wait for my return.
Yasha... You...
Finally leading to Yasha fighting against his master to help humanity and Asura, fighting one-on-one with Deus. It's a bit rough for the demigod till...
Yasha! Move! What are you doing?
It does not involve you.
What?
This is no time to argue.
Two children who think they're gods.
Asura cutting his way through the Shingoku forces for his revenge, having a 3-way fight. So that's surprisingly easy till...
However, it is not enough. You will not be able to defeat it with that. To fight the will of the entire planet, you must attain power greater than that of a god. Behold, this is that very power.
Becoming Sakura Davane Intra Deus, teaming up to battle Deus's Karma Fortress. Entering it, destroying the power reserves, fighting all the way to the head, beating Mithra and Deus.
Insolent fools! Why do you not understand that the true enemy is the will of the planet? She cries because she knows of the world's suffering. Once my world is liberated of the Goma, I shall cease all the cries. She must suffer. Until then!
With the Karma Fortress's destruction and Diaz defeated, who will stop the Viltra now? Throwing everything at the Goma forces, with even the planet itself fighting against them, and with very little time left, all you can do is pray. But for Mithra, that's more powerful than you would think. With that power up, Asura and Yasha battle all the way to the planet's core, with the will of the planet looking a lot like Asura's berserker form. Finally defeating Viltra, saving Gaia and his daughter.
At last, my plan is realized. I am the true God,
the embodiment of the wheel of life, the spinner of all mantra.
That was the ending before the DLC. That was the stinger for what was going to be the sequel, by the way. The true God, the embodiment of the will of life, the spinner of all mantra, the controller of the Goma, Chakravanti, is bringing about his great rebirth, and he needs vessels. Asura's daughter for one, and is going to destroy the world after defeating the main heroes.
Take care of my father!
But...
Please!
Yasha, taking care of Asura after their defeat, restoring him using the fallen mantra reactor, giving him the power of 17 trillion souls, the 7 deities harvested, and even Yasha's reactor to restore him and give him a fighting chance. With one last duel between Asura and Yasha, encapsulating their entire history, it just reminds me of something else, but I just can't place it. This is where you really see the influences that this was supposed to have a sequel instead of DLC. Just looking at the recap, it's shit that we did 3 hours ago. While it still works because of the amazing cinematography, it was clearly supposed to be the Dom from the Gears of War moment. But the fact that you can still pull emotions of this level is a testament to how great the story is represented. tell me that this shit doesn't remind you of Gurren Lagann. Everything in this sequence, this episode, this whole DLC, it's a step above in every single way. This is better than some entire games. Just look at the animation, the fight choreography, the voice acting, and the atmosphere. Everything about it is perfect.
I pray to no one! Nor will I be prayed to! Above all else, I will never forgive you! Making my daughter cry!
Ultimately, the Great Rebirth does not happen because of a manipulative spider, or the tyrannical rule of the gods, or evil demons that just want to watch the world burn. The Great Rebirth happens because of an enraged, vengeful, destructive father that was willing to fight fate itself if that's what it came down to protect his loving and kind daughter. Very few games have brought tears to my cynical eyes. Walking Dead Season 1 being one of them. But how does a game, a glorified DBZ with gods, bring that out of somebody? It's the journey. The quick time events, the music, the sheer craziness of it all. Because you feel like you're on this journey with Asura. From climbing out of Naraka, feeling every impact of your hands hitting the concrete towers. Every punch against a god feeling useless till you finally overpower them. The sheer weight of some of the subjects. While all basic, like a father protecting his daughter and a man out for revenge for his murdered wife, the scope of the story and the sheer heart put in by CyberConnect 2 is what makes this something people come back to over and over again. That's why anyone who talks about Asura's Wrath talks about it like it's one of the greatest gaming cinematic experiences out there. While I can attest that it has weaknesses. No 5 out of 10s here. Nothing but peak performance. I've always had an argument with friends and family talking about movies, about what's more important, making art, and it being a failure, not selling well, but it may be remembered, being talked about as a classic for years to come. So many times in the movie industry, gaming, comics, little financial successes have been remembered and revered fondly. Games like Metal Gear Revengeance are always talked about at the highest level. This is one of those games where I walk away and I know I'll never forget it. Thank God CyberConnect decided to put out the DLC and finish the story, so it wouldn't be a mess like some of these other wannabe trilogies. It makes me sad that so many people shit on it, especially when you can just feel the love and care put in. And there's so much more it could have done with the sequels. At least we got a very touching and satisfying ending, unlike many others. Sometimes you really have to touch something yourself before you can judge it, not just taking an influencer or reviewer's word for it. That's not to say that some of them aren't right, but it really is a case-by-case basis.